Hey, we're live.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you coming on. Um, it's good to be with everyone. As you come in, please do us a massive favor. Let us know where you're coming in from, and I'll show that on screen. And also, please smash the like button, no matter whose channel you're on. That'll help bring more people into the chat. And if you have any questions or discussion points you'd like us to get to, please put a Q in front of it, and I'll get to those. How you doing, Bob?
Uh, I'm a little tired and have a massive headache from stress because it's been really a rocky 24 hours here at the semi-retired Bob household.
Right.
Yeah, well,
Um,
yes, I had dance class yesterday,
mm,
and I started dancing when I was 3 years old, and it struck me about halfway through the class that because she is retiring and I'm moving to Texas, that yesterday might have been my very last dance class ever.
mm,
Because we got a big weekend this morning. So I had a little, an emotional roller coaster going on yesterday. Then I woke up this morning, made some coffee because I was tired. Went out to get my walk in and record a video, and there was something missing from my driveway. Someone stole my pickup truck last night.
oh no. Oh no. Um, wow.
I'm not
And
sure why anybody would steal a 22-year-old rust bucket truck that had flex seal on the rear end to keep the rear end from leaking. But here we are.
that's awful. Um, and so like it's just a matter of waiting to find out if if the police can track it
Yeah,
down, or
yeah. If they locate it, if I haven't heard anything from now, I'm not too excited about it. I have an appointment with a guy to go see. He's got a couple of vehicles I'm interested in. He's got a like an '09 Ford Ranger, which would be ideal, but it's a little out of my price point. But he's also got a um, '06
Mm.
um, Ford Escape hybrid, which means it's not a plug-in. The As you run the motor, it regenerates the batteries, and
Mm.
it's got just enough towing capacity that I could still pull my trailer with it to go down to Texas. It's not ideal because it's smaller,
Mm.
and
Mm.
I'd have to figure out something for hauling water. But other than that, it has, um, the advantage of getting much better fuel mileage. So
Mm.
I'm going to look at them both and weigh my options. But the Ford Escape is much more in my price range than the Ford Ranger pickup.
Right. So yeah, I mean, you just kind of you're just kind of moving forward, just assuming you're probably not going to hear about the.
Yeah, I'm moving forward assuming that I'm not going to hear anything. Um,
Mm.
and of course, my Amazon wish list is all filled up again. Not that I'm asking anybody to go out and fill it up. I actually just went through trying to remember everything I had in the back of my pickup, which is now
Yeah.
also gone. All of my expensive, really expensive stuff, like my solar stuff and my power tools and all that, were in the house or in the garage. But
Oh, thank
my
goodness.
pickaxes and my shovels and my wheelbarrows and my ladders and all that kind of stuff were in the back of the truck.
Mm. Oh no. Yeah. Lucky the expensive stuff was inside. That's
Yeah.
a blessing. Yeah. Um.
I mean, I still lost, probably, not counting the truck itself, I still lost probably $1,500 worth of stuff
Oh
that
no.
I'm gonna have to replace before I go to Texas. But yeah, what are you gonna do? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do hope they locate it, but yeah. Wow. So that's some pretty bad news. On brighter news, though, you talked about the dance class. So like you had the concert, right?
Yeah, we had the little kids concert 2 weekends ago, and it went very, very well.
Yeah.
Um, and the big concert is this weekend. Got dress
Mm.
rehearsal on Saturday, and then 2 shows on Sunday, and it should be a lot of fun because it's her 35th anniversary of the dance studio. And I know
Wow.
all of the kids that are coming back to dance in the alumni dance because, well, I've been there the whole time. I laid the floor in her very first studio 35 years ago.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's cool. Um, and that's commitment. 35 years as the dance instructor, right?
Yeah,
Mm.
we were laughing last night because she was talking about how she hears parents talking in the hallway. It's like, well, I've been at my job for 15 years now. I think maybe I should retire. Or I've been at my job for 20 years. I think maybe I should retire. It's
Mm.
like, Mary, ML's been doing this for 35 years. And she was a teacher in somebody else's studio before that. And she was a dancer in Chicago and a student. She's been dancing pretty much as long as I have. I mean, she started dancing when she was 3 or 4 years old, and she's a couple of years older than I
Mm.
am.
Yeah. So just a note for everyone that's in the chat. If you've got any questions for us or anything you'd like us to discuss, please put a Q in front of your question or discussion point. So I've got a diet related question for you, Bob.
Okay.
When are you planning to start the sugar diet?
Let me think about that for a minute. Probably the second Tuesday of next week.
That I feel like this has gone a little bit crazy as far as, you know, people are so intrigued by this, and it's like it's just sugar. That's all it's just a thing that someone's come up with.
Yeah. I mean, you
But
can actually probably lose a little bit of weight because that's really all you care about is losing a little bit of weight. Um, because just sugar alleviates the Randle cycle, which will reduce inflammation and make you feel a little better. The problem, of course, is, glycation, how hard all that sugar is on your liver and your kidneys and everything else that we as carnivores know. I mean, I even talked about this because I did a sugar diet um, episode on my channel a couple, 3, 4 days ago. And what I said is people are so desperate to lose a little bit of weight that they will try anything. And if it sounds easy, like, just eating fruit and honey and candy or whatever it is you're going to eat for the sugar diet, um, no regard to long term health. And we as carnivores know that eating a carnivore diet, while not a quick fix, will improve everything and is sustainable long term because it's got everything you need. I did see a comment back there about, the something like maybe the heroin diet is the same thing,
yeah.
only sugar has less nutrients than heroin or something. I don't
Yeah, sugar diet is like the meth diet, but with empty calories.
know. Yeah, meth. Okay.
Yeah. Um, also from Carnivore Keith, I thought they said booger. I've been on the booger diet for 2 weeks. That's low calorie as well, I think. Um,
and what's funny is some of these people are angry. The influencers that are pushing the sugar diet are angry that we're calling them out for it. It's like, you're mad because you just don't understand. It's supposed to be, sugar fast. what the heck is a sugar fast? Fasting is not eating, period. That's what a fast is.
A sugar fast is what I used to do as an elementary school student, as much as I possibly could.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I didn't have to worry about the long term effects, I would love to go on an all Krispy Kreme donut diet.
Mm. But you know what I've noticed is I kind of you want to call it hate hate follow or hate check in on some people on X often, you know, like kind of mainstream doctors and all that kind of thing. And a lot of these doctors and a lot of these kind of mainstream influencers are kind of saying this stuff like, "Oh, the sugar diet, this is the latest fad," and all the carnivores who said they'd never do anything but carnivore are all switching over to the sugar diet. And I'm like, which carnivores?
Yeah.
Like, they might be asking questions about it, but they're and going, "What the hell is this?" But they're not actually going, "Oh, well, that's carnivore done now. I'm gonna jump over to the sugar diet."
Yeah. No, I actually have a theory about why this is happening right now. I have absolutely no proof whatsoever. This is just the wheel is turning in Crazy Bob's head. But with all of the things that RFK Jr. is doing as the head of Health and Human Services here in the States, and putting people like Casey Means in charge of the new dietary guidelines and all of that, the sugar industry can see its doom looming on the horizon. And they're doing everything they can to make sugar popular again before it gets destroyed. But that's just my
Right.
thoughts. I have no proof of that whatsoever. This is purely conjecture.
Right, right.
But I think I'm probably pretty close to right, because I'm guessing the only reason a few of the people that I've seen talking about the sugar diet would ever talk about the sugar diet is because they're being paid to talk about the sugar diet.
That, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, you know, because they would be looking at everything that's going on and thinking, the writing's on the wall. It's only so long before they, you know, before some kind of, you know, bad mouthing of sugar comes in, or, you know, they start to try and legislate against sugar or whatever it happens to be. You know, they're looking at what could be the worst case scenarios. But yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there are several states that have already jumped on the bandwagon and have started legislation to ban soda and junk food from what's called here the SNAP program, which is basically the food stamp program, the low income, here's free money to go buy groceries with, which I think is a good program because there are a lot of people that need it. But let's make sure they're spending our tax dollars on healthy foods, not junk food and soda.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it'd be good that if it was actual food that was on there, you know.
Right. I mean, even if they want to eat steak every day, if they qualify for the program, I have no problem giving them tax dollars to subsidize their steak habit. I
Right.
do have a problem giving them tax dollars to subsidize their soda,
Yeah, but to buy
their
Coca-Cola
sugary
with it.
drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So Papa Carnivore says Dr. Bart K recently did a couple of super funny reaction videos making
Yeah, I've
fun
seen
of
them
sugar.
both.
Yeah. Yeah, they were good. And Carnivore talks, sugar lobbyists tried to influence politicians. Is it any surprise that they would plant influences to muddy the truth and try to make us look like we are in the wrong? Yeah, and that's the thing as well, right? None of these, whether it's all these studies that get put out, whether it's something about sugar that's coming up now, it's all about just muddying the water. because it's like, let's make it as vague and unclear as possible for everybody so that everyone just throws their arms up in the air and goes, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to go back to the way I normally eat, which is predominantly junk food.
Yeah, and I mean they've been muddying the waters like that for a really long time, because if you look at the amount of money Coca-Cola spends, roughly $60 billion a year on research for nutrition.
Mm.
And we all know what kind of research they're putting out, as opposed to the National Institute of Health, which is the research arm of the United States government, only spends about $1.5 billion a year on research. So Coca-Cola is spending, 50 times more than the U.S. government.
Mm.
Talk about that's how they muddy the waters, because 9 out of 10 doctors agree with you if you censor the other one that doesn't.
Yeah. DS111. 2 months ago, I bought a large pack of skinless, boneless chicken thighs and looked at the receipt later. Unfortunately, they charge a lot for the favor of selling it that way. Well, I think I've come in the middle of a conversation there. Sorry. Whoops. We've got some questions come through. Oh, and also, Scott, thank you for becoming a member. Much appreciated. So a question for Bob. What style of dance do you do?
Well, for the last 35 years, I've been strictly tap dancing. Prior to that, I did ballet, jazz, acrobats. I did the whole ball of wax when I was a kid, all the way up until about 1990, when I moved out here to Nebraska and switched to just tap.
So I don't know if you've noticed from my Facebook, Bob, but I'm a fan of dad jokes. And,
oh yeah.
Whenever someone mentions tap dancing, I always think about an old dad joke that I heard, and it's like, someone talking about how they tried tap dancing, but they were never good at it because they're always falling in the sink. It's because in British English, tap is like faucet in America.
Yes. Yeah. I got it. I got it. I'm not a complete American dunce.
And also, dad jokes are bad enough, but when you feel like when you start to get to the point where you're explaining it because no one laughed and realize they didn't laugh because it wasn't funny, it's obviously didn't understand it.
Oh yeah. There's always good dad jokes out there. I mean, you can't get away from them. I'm a big fan. I belong to 4 or 5 dad joke groups on Facebook myself. I like dad jokes. They're always funny.
Yeah. So, question from Judy. Could you tell me where to buy affordable meat in Takatsuki City, Osaka Prefecture? Do I have to go to Costco? So this is a follow-on from a comment that Judy posted on our last live stream, after the live stream. So Judy's coming to Japan, and she will be staying in Takatsuki, which is just down the road from me. So she's wondering where to get cheap meat. So I know Takatsuki reasonably well, Judy. I used to work there. I think probably your best bet is to go to Costco. There are some cheap butchers around, but it's still probably going to be a little bit more expensive. Or sorry, supermarkets that sell meat around that are cheap, but are probably still going to be more expensive than Costco. So from where you are in Takatsuki, there is a Costco. How far would it be from Takatsuki? Maybe half an hour by train from Takatsuki. It's in Amagasaki. So I'll type that into the Amagasaki Costco. So I put that in the chat. So that's probably the closest place, but that's also probably going to be the cheapest for you. Next up would be a supermarket called Gyom Super. Gyom Super. And there's probably one of those in Takatsuki. But yeah, other than that, you're not really going to find any other cheap places for meat in Japan. The regular supermarkets will be pretty expensive relative to your home country. And let me find out where I was. Excuse me 1 second while I clear my throat. Okay, much better. Okay, now I can talk. I have my voice back. So just looking for some questions. Did you see anything pop in there, Bob? Oh, okay. Hang on. We've got a dad joke here. Old man, doctor, can you help me? Doctor, what's the problem? Old man, I can't pee. Doctor, how old are you? Old man, I'm 97. Well, you've peed enough. Nice. Judy, what do you usually buy at Costco in Japan? I don't go to Costco. It's actually pretty close to me, but I don't go because I don't have a membership. And it's difficult if you don't have a car because it's not close to the train station. Yeah, and I don't have a car. So
549 is a question.
549. Okay. 549. So, okay. Thank you from Angela. I babysat Monday. They had a cold feel like I may be catching it. Okay. Throat sore. Any ideas to head it off?
And in the comments, Lambs hit the nail on the head. Fasting. Anytime I feel like I'm coming down with something, I just don't eat because that lets my body spend its time fighting whatever infection I've got, as opposed to using some of my resources to start digesting food.
Yeah, and when you think about it, it's that's what animals do, right? Whenever they're not well, that's when they stop eating. So we could take a lesson out of their book, a leaf out of their book. Okay, we're getting lots of dad jokes coming through. Yeah. Okay. So comment about Costco. At Costco, with the executive membership and their new credit card, you can get 4% savings on store purchases. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Do you ever go to Costco, Bob? Is there one near you?
There is a Costco fairly close to me. I used to have a membership there. I canceled it last year when I was moving to Texas and have never actually been back up there because the older I get, the less I like going into big crowded places. I haven't been back, and this close to moving back down to Texas, I see no reason to spend $65 on a membership again, because I certainly wouldn't get my money back out of it before I left. Yeah. We have Sam's here also, and Dave, the owner of the miniature golf course, has a Sam's card. So if I really want a big package of meat, I can tag along with him over to Sam's sometime.
Right.
But I do pretty well. I had some tri-tip steak for Memorial Day that I cooked on the grill at the miniature golf course, and I just had some pork chops today. But for the most part, I get along just fine on the cheap Walmart ground beef.
Yeah.
And I don't have to go anywhere to get that. I still have a membership there because back when I was taking care of Mom, my sister bought an extended membership for having grocery delivery, so I don't actually have to go anywhere, so I could stay at the house with Mom. And so rather than having to go to Walmart and fight the crowds, I can just go online and order what I want, and go on with my life.
So you don't need a membership to shop there, but if you've got a membership, you get free delivery.
Yeah, as long as you order $35, you buy a membership. I forget what Janet paid for it. It was 75 or 80 bucks for the year. And as long as you buy $35 worth at a time and you live in their delivery range, they will bring it to you for free. You don't have to be a member to get delivery, but it's like $10 to have delivery if you're not a member. So
Okay.
it only takes a few deliveries to make up the cost.
Oh, do you need to
Sorry
take
about
that?
that. No, that was, I don't have to take that. I did not shut my phone off in case the police happened to call because they found my truck.
Okay, yeah. So guys, if you got any questions, please chuck a Q in front of it and we'll get to it. Also, any discussion points. Otherwise, I'm going to regale you with dad jokes and you don't want that. And Bob's nodding his head. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I was reading a story the other day about how swordfishes have almost no natural predators except for the rarely seen penfish, which is said to be much mightier.
That's nice. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. The best one I've heard recently is, why buy a shampoo when real poo is free? That's yeah, nice and quick one. Yeah. Come on, guys, get some questions in. Otherwise, we're just going to continue.
I see a big capital at 5:53. Dan Bailey says something about I would like to discuss something. I can read it now that it's up on the screen.
Yeah, I wonder how deep we want to go into that, because that might be might get us marked on our channels.
Yeah.
I think that this is important discussion points, Dan, but YouTube's still a bit touchy about this kind of stuff, so I'm kind of worried about talking about it on a live stream, to be honest. But yes, it definitely is an important thing.
It is. And I have a couple of videos. If you go digging through them, I don't actually talk about that. What I talk about is how so many kids are gifted vacuum cleaners at a very young age. And if you don't know what a vacuum cleaner is, you can also understand that I like axe throwing, is how I explain it on my channel.
Yeah. So, Charming, how can we fix cholesterol with Carnivore? What's to be fixed? What do you need to fix? You need to maybe give more information.
Yeah, cholesterol doesn't need fixing. A standard American diet, plant-based diet, fake food slop, all of those things that have seed oils and vegetable oils in them contain plant sterols. Sterols are very close molecularly to cholesterol, so that they do bind to the cholesterol receptors in your body. But then your body can't use those sterols. So as you go to Carnivore and start cleaning the sterols out of your system, those cholesterol receptors can suddenly begin to work again. And your cholesterol levels return to where they should be. So you don't really need to fix cholesterol if you're on a carnivore diet.
Yeah. Okay, Marcy Me, what are your favorite cuts of meat? I'm preparing lamb for supper. I'm not good at answering this one because I typically just stick with ground beef, and if it's a steak, it's whatever steak has a bit of fat on it. How about you, Bob?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same thing here. Although I have to tell you, I don't know if it was the cut of meat that I had on Memorial Day because I got about a 2 pound tray of tri-tip for Memorial Day because it was on sale.
Mm.
And I don't know if it was the cut of meat or the fact that I took them to work with me, got the grill out of the back room of the miniature golf course and fired that up and cooked them on the grill. But those were really, really good.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I'm just like you, Dave. I'm primarily a ground beef and eggs guy.
Mm. Yeah. If it looks like it came from an animal, that's about enough that I need to know, you know.
Yeah. But I do like lamb. I mean the few times I've had lamb, it's really good. I'd like to have it more often, but it's really expensive here.
Oh, really? And
Oh yeah.
is like, do you have a lot of sheep in the US, or is it all imported and that's why
Oh
it's
no,
expensive?
we have a lot of sheep. We have lamb. We you can get anything, but here in Omaha, I live in the feedlot capital of the country, if not the world.
Mm.
And comparing everything else to what I get ground beef for, and even if, well, like those steaks, I had 2 pounds of tri-tip steak, and I didn't give $10 for it
Mm.
because meat's just not that expensive here. So anything else, because it has to be shipped in from somewhere else, is
Right.
much more expensive. Whereas if you stick with the feedlot grain finished ground beef and beef from Nebraska, it's very cheap because they butcher it just down the street.
Right. Yeah. So when you hit a weight stall from Papa Carnivore, when you hit a weight stall, how did you break it? I I personally haven't experienced a weight stall. Like I just went down to a weight and I kind of stuck there. How about you, Bob?
If you figure it out, let me know because I've been in a basic stall for about 2 years now. Where
Mm.
because I did the same as Dave, I dropped down to where I am and it's just basically stayed there. I mean, I can tell by looking at myself in the mirror that I could still stand to lose 25 or 30 pounds, maybe even a little more. But I am where I am. I think if we eat a proper human diet, then our body will eventually get to where it's supposed to be. Unfortunately, the weight stalls could be happening because your body has decided to pause that to heal something else.
Mm.
Because oxidizing fat off your body does take some of your body's resources, and it may be using those resources for something else, even though you can't feel it and you can't tell it.
Mm.
So
Mm.
all you can really do is just trust that it's going to work, and you're going to end up at as optimum of health as you can, depending on where you started and how damaged you were.
Mm.
You know, you may not get all the way back to full, healthy, super lean, all that stuff, but you'll get real close to it.
Mm.
I hope that made sense, Papa.
So Jiffy is asking, I hope I don't get into trouble, but have either of you thought about starting a Rumble account? I think we've both got one. I certainly have.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
one. Link in the description.
Yeah. I haven't uploaded as much as I should have onto it.
Yeah,
But
well, at one point it was easy because it would mirror, and anytime I uploaded something to YouTube, it automatically uploaded to Rumble. But they did something to break that, and I can't make it work again. So if I think of it, I will go upload a video to Rumble, but some days I just don't think of it.
Yeah, that was the problem. Like they had this automated thing and it worked for a while. And then what I found is it had kind of changed in a way that it was only focused on uploading live streams, which is kind of like the one that you want to upload the actual videos, not the live streams, right? And then after that, it just stopped working. And I try and upload, but often forget. Okay, Dan, can you discuss the effect of salt, i.e., sea salt and pink salt? Well, it helps you not flush the water straight out of your body. It helps your body retain a bit of the water so you keep the electrolytes. Is that right, Bob?
Yeah, well, and salt is actually very good for you. There are many people out there that will say, oh, well, too much salt is bad for your blood pressure. In fact, I can tell you, as having had open heart surgery, that they will tell you in cardiac rehab to reduce your salt intake. Yet I haven't seen anybody following their advice that actually got healthier. But when you actually cut out the sugar that causes your kidneys not to function properly to do what it's supposed to do with the salt in your system, there's no, if you get excess salt in your system and your kidneys are working properly, you just flush it out of your system. It does not cause high blood pressure. And the thing, if you're going to buy sea salt, make sure it's coming from, like, Redmond's real salt is technically sea salt, but it comes from an ancient ocean that's been buried under the desert of Utah for thousands of years. It hasn't been exposed to the elements, whereas some of the cheaper sea salts out there, they just take ocean water and evaporate it to get the salt. Well, they also get the microplastics when they do that. So you have to be careful. If it's cheap, it's probably cheap for a reason. Same thing with the pink salt. If it's true Himalayan pink salt, it's very good. But believe it or not, there are some unscrupulous companies out there that will take regular old salt and dunk it in pink food coloring and package it up and sell it to you as pink salt. And so if you go to online, like say you do Amazon or whatever, if you see pink salts that are significantly cheaper than all the rest, they're probably not real pink salt. They're probably the food dye coloring regular salt to look like pink salt.
Right.
I hope that answers your question, Dan.
And Dan's got a continuation to his question. And how about versus table salt?
If you look at the label, most table salts, the second ingredient is sugar. That's all you really need to know about table salt.
Yeah. And like it's kind of, it's just not really salt, is it?
It doesn't taste anything the same.
If you tasting substance.
Yeah, I mean, if you get real salt, whether it be Redmond's or true pink Himalayan salt or whatever kind of mined salt they have close to wherever you're at, whatever country you happen to be in, you will notice right away that it's very good. And, salt should clump. I keep Redmond's both, in a pinch, drop it on my food kind of thing on the table, but I also have it in the shaker on the back of the stove. And it's always clumped up. Before I can shake the salt out, I always have to bang the shaker on the counter a couple times to break the salt back up before it'll shake out of the shaker, because real salt should clump up.
Look who's here. G'day, Rick. You quackers. How you
Yeah, Rick
doing?
Rick would have been really pleased with my steaks at the miniature golf course on Memorial Day because I remembered to take my tongs with me to turn the steaks on the grill, but I forgot to take silverware. So there I am trying to wait on customers with a big hunk of steak in one hand, just gnawing on it like a caveman.
um, maybe you can answer this one, Bob. What about Dollar Tree pink salt?
I don't really know specifically about Dollar Tree pink salt, but if the price is significantly cheaper than any of the good brands of pink salt, Himalayan pink salt, it's probably not real pink salt.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Um, okay. Oh,
Just turn
yeah.
it over and read the ingredients. If it has anything other than salt mined from in the
Mm,
ingredients list, it's not real.
yeah. Yeah. And yeah. CB Carmack is also saying anti-caking agents in cheap table salt. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So at one time, the doctors in the US and the media called salt the White Death. Wow. Nothing but BS now that we know differently. The military used to direct us to take 2 to 3 salt tablets per day. Hmm.
yeah. I mean, if salt's so bad for you, why was there a salt tab? I mean, you have to go back a ways, but there were salt tablets included in MREs, and prior to that, C rations. I mean, there's just
Mm,
salt tablets have been around the military for quite some time.
mm. And Rick saying, lol, Bob's eating steak the same way I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, Judy's asking, what is a good salt to buy in Japan? You can get Himalayan pink salt at most supermarkets. That's what I use. Um, when I've ordered some salts from Amazon, but yeah, it ends up being really expensive. But the best one that you can order easily from Amazon here is Malden's. Malden's is really nice. Comes in these big flakes. Um, okay. So just on the LDL discussion, the crafty farmer's wife is saying, I think it's good for people to know their CAC score, especially after 50. Just had mine done and it was 0, thankfully, despite my LDL being slightly up. But I'm a dietitian and like to know everything. Mm,
Yeah, I agree with getting your CAC score
mm,
if you've had any kind of poor diet in the past, but LDL, which isn't actually cholesterol, it's low density
mm,
lipoprotein, which is the carrier that carries cholesterol around the blood,
mm,
has zero association with heart disease.
mm. I think the most interesting thing is like it gets blamed for all this, but then when they actually look at the contents of plaques, there's very little cholesterol in there at all.
Yeah, about 5%.
Mm. Yeah. Um, okay. So so the sugar diet is not Krispy Kremes. Well, yeah, I mean that would then probably be the chemical diet, no?
Yeah, but it's just, it's all the same. See, that's
Mm,
just it. People like to pretend that, oh well, I'm getting my fructose from eating an apple, so it's different from the fructose and high fructose corn syrup. Well, no, it's
your
all the
body doesn't
same.
see it that way.
Your body doesn't see it that way. Now, it may be absorbed a little slower, but it doesn't matter if it spikes up and comes back down or it slowly goes up and then comes back down. The glycation happens in the area under the curve, regardless of whether it's a big, fast moving curve or a long, slow curve.
Mm.
The area under the curve is where glycation, damage to tissues, happens. And yeah, no, the sugar diet that they're recommending is not Krispy Kremes, but either
Bob,
way, you're going to have glycated tissues. But we don't care about all that sciencey stuff. We just want to lose weight.
Think of all that wonderful nutrition contained in each of those grains of sugar. It's so nutritious. Yeah, and that was sarcasm.
Yes.
Just in case anyone takes me seriously, don't send me any hate mail. No hate comments, please. So, we've got a question. Here we go. DS111. Do you know what problems could present to someone who took about 19 acetaminophen pills over 3 days because of my stupid sore throat? My teenage daughter went around my back and did that. I haven't heard of this pill. Do you know that pill, Bob?
That's Tylenol.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 19 Tylenol pills over 3 days.
That's very hard on the liver. Make sure you just take them away and feed your teenage daughter a proper human diet, and any damage that may have occurred to her liver hopefully will heal itself. Tylenol is very bad for the body. I mean,
wow.
It's all of these so-called fixes for problems that we've had. They aren't fixes at all. They just mask the symptoms, but do other bad things. Yeah, it's acetaminophen is Tylenol. It's very, very hard on your liver and kidneys. So just keep an eye on her, and if it's just been this one time, I wouldn't worry too much about it, but you need to maybe sit her down and have a little talk to her to make sure that she knows that doing that again could really cause problems for her in the long run.
It's interesting. The more I've been in this area, the more I realize how much most drugs have a really, really negative effect on your liver.
Oh, yeah.
Like the average person just goes through life thinking, oh, well, yeah, I need to get rid of this symptom. I need to get rid of this. And they're just popping pills left and right and not realizing what they're doing to such an important organ, right?
Yeah, I would, tell your daughter the best thing to help with a sore throat is gargle warm salt water.
Yeah. Well, the old-fashioned way, just deal with it. Just wait until it ends. Anthony S. I have beef organ pills, and I open them up and mix a few of them into my ground beef. Good tip for you guys. I've never tried any of the pills with that kind of thing, or any of the desiccated organs or anything. Have you tried any of that, Bob?
No, I have not. I looked into them initially, but discovered how expensive they were. And then I discovered Professor K and a few others. And if you're going, it's perfectly fine to add organ meat to your ground beef because it does cover up the taste of it. Just make sure you're doing it in the correct proportion. And by that, I mean, if you take a look at a cow, and you are by yourself and you're going to butcher a cow, it's your cow, you're going to eat the whole thing. If you wanted to have a piece of liver every day with your muscle meat and the associated fat, you would get just a tiny little speck of liver every day because there's so much meat. And that's how, that's sort of the way the animal comes in. I think it's no accident that animals come in the correct proportion like that.
Yeah. So when anyone talks about organ pills or desiccated organs or whatever, I always reminds me of Paul Saladino. 'Cause I was watching a reaction video from Abby Sharp one day. She was reacting to Paul Saladino making his breakfast, and he was preparing his breakfast on camera, and he's got like his fruit and his honey and his meats and all this kind of thing. And then at the end, he says, "And I'm going to top all this off by sprinkling some desiccated testicles on my on my food." And I'm watching this reaction video, and I'm like watching Abby Sharp take issue with everything he's doing in his diet, and I'm just waiting for it. I'm thinking to myself, when's she going to take issue with the desiccated testicles? And no pun intended, she never touched it. She never mentioned
Mm-hmm.
in the whole video. And I was like, I was sure that was the one thing she was going to take issue with. Never mentioned it at all.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
and I'm sure that, if you feel like you need some organ meat and you don't like the organ meat, buying one of those pills, capsules from whoever's selling them is not a bad idea. Just be careful, because if you read the dosage on that, that's a really high percentage of organ meats.
Okay. Do we have any more questions, guys? Questions, discussion points, exciting stories? What's Rick talking about here? Cyanide Tylenol. Oh.
Yeah, there was an episode back in the late 70s, early 80s, where someone was trying to get, it's why they went to gel caps instead of the regular capsules, because somebody went to some random drug stores and injected cyanide into some Tylenol capsules and killed a few people before they pulled all the Tylenol off the shelf.
That's scary.
That's the world we live in, man.
Wow.
Another reason not to put unknown chemicals in your body.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Back in the okay. Yeah, back in the 1980s, poison Tylenol was killing people. Yeah, that's really scary. Yeah. Carnivore Champion, g'day. How you doing?
Hello, Carnivore Champion. Glad you made it. It looks like a lot of the rest of it is talking, and they're talking about the update with the Tylenol. So DS111, I'm certainly hope everything comes out okay. It should be, because if she hasn't been doing this for a long time, you should be fine.
And Lamb's question: why do I feel like I have to sing this? Why do birds suddenly appear?
Oh.
Although a lot of people probably wouldn't classify what I can output as singing. So
Yeah, isn't that Carpenters, maybe?
That's right, Karen Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh,
we're showing our age with that, right?
That's going back in the Wayback Machine. And I had a worse childhood than most when it comes to music exposure, because I grew up in the late 60s, but I had two older sisters. And houses, not everybody had their own personal stereo back then. There was the stereo for the house. So my sisters always got to pick what we were going to listen to on the radio or watch on TV. So, growing up until I got to like junior high school and got to start picking my own music because they were off to college, I thought Barry Manilow and Helen Reddy was some really rocking music.
Right. um, so DS111's got a question. Dr. Berry revealed a Carnivore movie trailer titled Animals. Seems they've beaten Kerry to the punch. So when we were at the Carnivore conference in Melbourne, Dr. Kiltz and Bella mentioned this documentary, but then kind of looked like they couldn't really talk about it much. They just mentioned it. So I don't know anything about it, but yeah, it seems it's coming out soon.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with all of that stuff because while I think the movies are a good idea, I also have my own opinions about certain things they do.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not the place to talk about people that are out there just trying to get wealthy off of other carnivores.
So, Kathleen, why don't you put rice in your salt shaker? It does a great job keeping it from clumping and doesn't come out the holes.
I don't want rice to infect my very expensive real salt.
It's gonna feed into it's gonna leach.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it would leach into it or not, but I don't
it'll be
use
safe
rice.
than sorry.
I don't use rice, so yeah. And it's not that big of a deal. I just hit the salt shaker on the counter a couple of times and then it shakes just fine.
Mm. Mm.
And if it doesn't, you can always pinch it and sprinkle it with your fingers. I mean, that's the joys of using real salt is you've got real salt because it clumps.
Right.
But that is a good suggestion. I know they used to do that and all the time. In restaurants and stuff, they used to put, if you were going to a restaurant in a more humid environment, they'd add rice to the salt shakers to keep the salt from plugging up.
And Rick's just saying on the rice, I give any rice I find to the ducks. Yeah, the ducks probably love it. Kathleen, was why you don't add rice to the shaker to keep it from clumping works great.
Yeah, we just did that one.
Yeah. Okay. I have a Sprouts Market Himalayan salt that says Himalayan salt on the package, and the ingredients only say Himalayan salt, so it should be okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Sprouts is a pretty good market. They, it's when you go to places like, you go looking on Amazon. Look on Amazon sometime, type in Himalayan pink salt or just pink salt, and you can spot them right away because you get a whole page of stuff that will be, $10 for a bottle this side, and then all of a sudden you find one that's $1 for a bottle that size. That was probably not okay.
Probably a good sign as well as like if you look at the label and like where it's from. Like if it's, from Taiwan or something, it might not be the best because it's likely they're getting Himalayan salt from Taiwan,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there doesn't seem to be any more questions at this stage, so we might call it a day. So from me, guys, thanks very much for joining us. Thanks for your questions and your chats. Really appreciate you spending some time with us today. Bob.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. I needed to sit here and chat with you guys a lot more today than I have in a really long time because it's been a really crappy 24 hours. And thanks for hanging out with us, guys. You've really improved my mood, and my stress headache is almost gone.
Cheers, guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks.